So John, the FA tried a different approach yesterday. We were at St George's Park and it was every one of the players, all 23, in a huge room, sitting in a little chair, and then we were all invited to go up and spend some time with them. How do you think it worked?
I thought it was brilliant. I do think the FA have taken a leaf out of the NFL book, if you like. A couple of the sort of the media guys and Gareth Southgate as well went over, I think, to the States at the back end of last year. It's obviously something that they were thinking about doing anyway, and saw how they worked it for sort of I think ahead of the Super Bowl, and took a leaf out of that book. And I just thought it was brilliant. It was a revelation. I think the players liked it, as far as I could see anyway. And it was, I don't know, it felt to me a little bit like speed dating. You kind of had 5 minutes with each and sort of take your pick, ask what you like, sort of put them through their paces. I thought it was brilliant. I really thought it was a breath of fresh air, a sort of air of openness. And sort of also the players seem so relaxed, and there seems to be such a sort of relaxed atmosphere around the camp, which is exactly what you want before a major tournament.
I mean, I think it's something that a few of us of a certain age remember in the old days, when you could actually spend a little bit of time with players. You weren't the other side of a barrier in a mixed zone or with a press officer sitting on their shoulder, and you could actually have a conversation and get to know them a little bit more. And do you think that's to be encouraged?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it also brings out the player a bit more, and I think it's not just about, I mean, people might look at this and think it's just about sort of self-indulgent journalists sort of kind of, you know, talking about media issues. I think it goes beyond that. I think it shows a confidence from a player, getting a message across, being sort of confident enough to say what you believe, also getting a message across from the players to the fans as well, and sort of kind of just, I think Gareth Southgate will be hugely encouraged from what he's seen from the interviews from his players, because he wants them to feel confident, not be inhibited, be confident enough to speak to the nation, if you like. And I think it'll be a really positive thing. And I think moving forward, I'd love to see them do it before every major event.
And of course, each player was sitting in a chair. There was a small queue or a longer queue, depending on who it was. Raheem Sterling had by miles the longest queue. But he dealt with it well, and it shows that these issues that, you know, he had a big week, didn't he, all sorts, they can be dealt with if they're dealt with in an adult way.
Yeah, I think the point was, for me, was with Raheem, was that a lot of people, including myself, joined the queue at the start, but then everyone mixed in, and kind of TV went first a little bit, and then a little bit of radio, then the written guys went next, and we all sort of got to ask questions. He dealt with it in a mature way. He was very open about it, even joking about the sort of the other tattoo that he's got on his arm of the number 10 shirt that he's always dreamed of wearing for England. And so it brought out the sort of the real person that is him, who I think is bright and funny. He doesn't shy away from issues. Honestly, it washed over him like nothing was there, and it wasn't a problem, the whole gun tattoo and kind of, you know, being late for training. And he just dealt with it in a mature way. You can understand that sort of kind of Gareth Southgate will look at what he said about it and realise that his player is very mature and sort of adapts well. And, you know, it wasn't just Sterling either. It was just like, you could go around the whole room. I don't think anyone was left alone for a long period of time. I think Nick Pope was even busy right throughout the whole 45 minutes, which was great to see.
And of course, this time next week, we'll be in Russia, they'll be in Russia. How important is it that we get off to a good start? Not just in terms of media relationships, but the sort of spirit within the camp, both in the media camp as well as the team camp.
Oh, definitely. I do think that, I mean, we can't be, you know, sort of kind of cheerleaders for the team. We've got to be realistic. But I think if there's one thing where you go into a tournament where I think the papers can kind of just nail their colours to the mast, I think it's in the build-up to a World Cup, where every, you know, newspaper wants to see them do really well. I think we banged the drum for quite a few days. I mean, look at the coverage now; it's already taking off, isn't it? And it sort of really feels a real positive vibe, a real rah-rah vibe about it. And I think we can unashamedly be completely biased and want England to do really well. And I think while the feel-good factor kind of spreads from whether it be the press conference or into a game, I like the fact that sort of England won and played quite well in patches against Nigeria. Hopefully that can go into the Costa Rica game. Sort of, I think the relations are really good at the moment, and I think Gareth Southgate embodies that. I think he's bright, enthusiastic, and hopefully sort of kind of build and sort of take that into next week.